There we go. So I'm in Jersey. I am going to go and take the river line down, and I am going to pay a visit to one of the most underrated towns for tourists in the Garden State. So I was on the train from Bristol up here, and I just saw this pop on my phone, but today is August 25th, and Dolly Parton, who, as we all know, has been a huge cultural icon, transcended country music and everything else, has passed away at the age of 80. I am so heartbroken. Dolly Parton was actually one of my dad's favorites, so to hear about her passing is completely heartbreaking. I am headed towards the Riverline, which is right over there. I actually have a few Riverline videos, so I'll spare you the crazy. And then that's Mercer Cemetery at Trenton, which I have never been able to get into. So I rarely have talked about it. One day I'm going to research it a little better and maybe see if anyone can get into it. But right now I'm going to cross over to the Riverline. I'm going to go to Roebling, New Jersey, which New Jersey 101.5 had an article about Roebling, which called it the most underrated tourist town in the Garden State. So we'll see what this hidden gem is about. Now that's the Riverline that I just got off. Crazy thing I found out about the Riverline is it's actually one of the few commuter trains that uses diesel. And here we are, Roebling, New Jersey. Now, I did a couple of videos about Roebling. This was probably about, I'm gonna say, 3 years ago or so. I did a video where I went over to that building over yonder, which is the Roebling Museum, and I tried walking around Roebling. Now, there is an article that I read, and I said about this in my intro. It was on New Jersey 101.5's website. And for those of you that do not know what New Jersey 101.5 is, it's an FM radio station that's based in New Jersey, and it's mostly talk radio, and it's more from a very conservative angle. Now, I know a little bit about the history of Roebling because of the fact that I did go to the Roebling Museum, and I have a really great video about it in my New Jersey Adventures playlist. But Roebling, New Jersey was an industrial town, basically. It started as an industrial town, and it kind of has wherever you lived in this town was basically on where your position was in the factory right over, which is now the Roebling Museum. Now, Roebling made the cables for suspension bridges. Again, check out my video on the Roebling Museum. So let's have a look around. Now, I have not been here since the time I did the video at the Roebling Museum. I guess this used to be an old storefront. It is for rent. I wouldn't be shocked if this was an old store. It probably was, because you see the Visa, MasterCard decal. I know also from where I live in Bristol, there are a lot of stores that ended up becoming residential. In fact, my brother and I both think that the apartment I live in now was at one point an old corner store. I wouldn't be shocked if this was an old an old store or something. So yeah, have to see about that. And I love what this person, I don't want to film into their house, but I love what this person did with the sunflowers. I have plants on the stoop at my house, so that's why I always love that kind of stuff when I see it. In fact, my old place that I lived with my dad, I had the same thing. And then, of course, I guess this is the road out of town. This is Hornberger Avenue. So if anyone knows anything about that building on Hornberger Avenue, please put it in the comments. Then you got a little corner mart, which looks like it might have been something else. I have no idea, but like you could see, like some of these houses like this, I would think these are like where the lower level workers were, and then the more higher level would be in nicer homes. So yeah, God, Dolly Parton died today. I'm still in shock, all right? This is interesting. This must have been an old church or something. Oh, it still is a church. I thought it might have not been, because it looked, because right there kind of threw it off. I guess that's where the preacher lives. But this is the Roebling Hungarian Reformed Church. Now, I did remember from when I came here a couple of years ago that Roebling had a huge Eastern European population. This is a Byzantine Catholic church, St. Nicholas. And I'm trying to think what exactly Byzantine Catholic is. I know that's like one of the like Orthodox religions in Catholicism, I think. Because I know Roman Catholic, because I am Roman Catholic, and my town has a lot of Roman Catholics, which is now a house, it looks like, but Union Hall? I don't know. We are at the intersection of James and Norman. Right here, another one. I would think like these kind of buildings would be more for like the higher up workers, whereas the ones we saw when we came in were more for lower level. That of course is a dead end, so we're going to turn, and we're coming up near that Byzantine Catholic church again, I think. Of that church right here, or maybe it isn't. I'll see when I get to the sign here. But either Romanian, Croatian, I have no idea. I'm looking at that one, here, let me see if I can zoom it in. But I am looking at this, and I was looking right at the words right there, and that looks like it's, let's see, that looks like Romania, and with the way it's written, I would think that it is a Romanian Catholic church, and I would think this is like their, oh, here we go, I have found it. I have found what could answer the question here. St. Mary's Romanian Greek Catholic home. So yeah, that's a Romanian Catholic church. A flywheel, which was part of the production that was used in making those cables. If you walk those grounds, they have like little placards that'll show what they are. But you know, maybe one day I'll come back and revisit the Roebling Museum. This was kind of a spur of the moment kind of dealio. This, of course, you'll see this all over, and it's a private property thing. Chain place across the street one day each year to signify the private property of the John A. Roebling's Sons Company. So they have another one there, and from what I'm gathering is there's a chain that would cross, and it would show where the Roebling property was, like the Roebling Company property. So these were all basically company houses. So that's why they look the way they do, like that, you know. And some of them do have some more modern things like vinyl siding and whatnot, but you can notice the bricks and everything from the early days with the Roebling Company. But yeah, and this museum, I actually thought that was this had something to do with trains or something because of it being so damn close to the river line. But nope, it was because of bridges, which I find interesting considering New Jersey does have a lot of bridges. I don't think there are any that have cables that were made by Roebling. I may be wrong, but yeah, this is the Roebling Museum. This is the other entranceway in. There's two entranceways, by the way. There's one back this way when you come off the river line and you just walk straight through that lot and off. And you know, you can see an old building there. But there is also the one right here on this street, which forgot what the name of this street is, and I cannot find a sign that tells me what the name of this street is. So right now it's the street that has no name. But this must be their entrance right here. Weird entrance, huh? But this would be like where the employees would come in. And then this right here I'm going to take would be where they would bring in the materials, or maybe even take out the final product. That right there is just a path bridge, a footbridge if you will, into the other part of the museum, which is right here. You have a little garage thing. This is actually, I actually have this in my old Roebling video. So yeah, I was right earlier about the Golden Gate Bridge, because this is a sample of the cross section on the Golden Gate Bridge. So fabricated and erected 1933 to 1937 by John A. Roebling Sons and Company. So yeah, we just answered that $64,000 question. Then up there, I think, is a baseball field. Man, they're getting leaves already. I'm only saying because my neighborhood, haven't noticed any leaves, and we do have some nice trees around my neighborhood. So, yeah. I mean, other than the Roebling Museum itself, I have so far not seen anything that indicates why New Jersey 101.5 would say this is an underrated tourist area. I mean, maybe it's because not a lot of people go to that museum. I only discovered it because it was one time I took the river line from Trenton down to Burlington, and I went past it. Yeah, there's a park up here. Looks like a nice little park. You know, has some swings, has the porta potties like every friggin' park in this world. And then go spend some time with your family and friends at the park. It's Roebling Park. And of course they have the poop bags. Always clean up after your dog. And there's a mini library. I didn't realize that. But let me see what they have here. I am getting a little exhausted right now, but let's zoom out a little. But like this area, you could see like little like concrete things that looks almost like they had some kind of trestle, I'm gonna say. So that might have been where the ships came in, because right here is, I think this is the Delaware River. I don't know. Nah, it doesn't look it. But this looks like an offshoot from the Delaware, but they would come up and probably drop off materials and stuff right around where these little concrete things are. That's what I'm thinking. And then you got some nice houses here. This must have been where the more higher people in the factory worked, because I do know from walking through Bristol that the more fancier looking it is on the outside indicates your status in the company, which of course, you know, they don't necessarily do. There are very few industrial towns these days, but that's always interesting to know.